As Tesla shoots for the green this morning, it's barely still in the red as I just checked it before coming on air. It doesn't really matter. Nicholas said it right last night, said it very well. I'm going to say it slightly differently than he did, but let me see what you think about this idea. Let me know in the comments below. Elon's politics don't matter. The economic situation doesn't matter. The stock market volatility doesn't matter. The Chinese numbers, the current increases in auto sales in the US, whether they're up or down or whatever's happening this particular week, they don't matter. Believe it or not, even the amazing ramp and future of mega packs don't matter. Of course, we're still going to cover all those things with enthusiasm and optimism here on this show. But if you're watching the show because you hope to retire on your Tesla investment, then there are two things that matter: Robotaxi and Optimus. We're just 64 days away from October 10, and some of the most conservative analysts, some of the really conservative folks in the Tesla sphere are now thinking that full self-driving will lose its supervised status by the end of the year. It will no longer require supervision. And if that happens, then robotaxi is just a matter of the regulations in any particular section of the country, section of the world. And I think based on whatever research and whatever information that I've seen, is that there's plenty of places where there will be no regulations and no reasons why people won't be able to drive their car from the back seat, so to speak, and or why they won't be able to turn their cars into robotaxis. Now, I'm sure that Elon knows a lot more about this, and we'll hear a lot more about that on October 10, is my guess. But those, to the extent that there are some regulations here and there, I think those are just going to be major, they're going to be minor blips on the road to being able to have your robotaxi go wherever it wants to go. Now, there's going to be some major exceptions. Those would be airports and New York City. But I think with those two major exceptions, I think it'll be pretty easy to solve the question of whether a robotaxi is allowed to do business. So it might be October 10. It might be the end of the year, or maybe everybody's wrong and robotaxi takes until Q1 of 2026. You know what? That's only 17 months away. But I don't think anybody who's paying attention, anybody who's watching what's going on, thinks it's going to take until 2026. But if it did, 17 months, could you wait for your portfolio to jump to $1,000 a share compared to the current roughly $200 a share? Would that be okay? Anyway, then there's Optimus. Later today, Scott will be on as usual on Wednesday, and he'll take us through the latest videos coming out from Figure, and we'll make some comparisons to that with Optimus, and we'll talk about what Elon had to say in that interview with Lex Fridman last week, which you may or may not have seen, but both he and I have watched that, and we'll talk about that particular interview. And I think you're going to be, again, shocked and amazed at what's going to be coming for, well, maybe not. If you watch this program, you're probably figuring that Optimus is going to be a thing in 2025 in terms of, doing work in the factories, thousands of them in the Tesla factories. And in 2026, it will start to make money. And just multiply whatever you think is going to happen with robotaxi, multiply that by 2 or 3, and that's what's going to happen with Optimus. Well, okay, Sawyer Merritt says this morning that Tesla has revealed that in Q2 of 2024, they recorded one crash for every 6.88 million miles driven in which drivers were using autopilot technology. And that's the best Q2 number ever. I don't know why Sawyer is talking about comparing it to other quarters, maybe because there's different driving conditions in winter versus summer or whatever. But anyway, for drivers who were not using autopilot, Tesla still only recorded one crash for every 1.45 million miles driven. And that compares to the NHTSA numbers out there that all cars combined about 670,000 miles. So if you're driving a Tesla, your chances of being in an accident drop in half. if you put it on autopilot, they drop in 1/10 to 1/10 of the chances of an accident. Now, this sad part about all these lovely stats that Sawyer shared with us this morning is there's nothing here for the FSD, which you would think would drop the numbers even lower, but we don't have those numbers right now. But we'd like to have those, Elon, please. What are the numbers? Maybe on 10/10, we're going to get those numbers. Now, these numbers are slightly down from Q1. Sawyer doesn't report that, and they're largely in line with the last 4 quarters. But I don't think that they're making major increases or changes or whatever in the autopilot. They're making the big changes are happening in FSD. But it's obviously impressive. And if your friends are wondering whether they should, not choose politics over their children's safety, that might be a good argument to make for somebody who's on the fence about Elon's politics regarding their purchase choices. All right, Sawyer also has this news from Sunrun. Sunrun has entered into an agreement with Tesla Electric to support Tesla Energy's grid and the Texas energy grid. This partnership will allow residents to receive compensation for sharing their energy from Tesla Powerwall batteries to help stabilize the grid for Texans. So that is, good news and, one of these minor little company things that Tesla's doing, but I think it's going to spread throughout the world, and this will be a big deal. It's already a big deal in California. It's a big deal in Texas already, and I think it's going to be a big deal elsewhere. Anyway, FSD 12.5 is now rolling out, according to the information I saw this morning on X. And I just took a tour of the FSD comments and videos on X and looked at a whole bunch of them. The overwhelming majority were overwhelmingly positive. There was a few disengagements, even in some normal things like getting on or getting off freeways. But I'm not sure that stack is all, 100% with the highways and the streets, even with 12.5 versions that are out now. Elon has promised that is coming extremely soon on one of the 12.5 updates. So, but everybody, the conversations about 12.5 are that it is absolutely, folks just can't believe how smooth, how wonderful it is to drive. All right, this is Randy Kirk, by the way. If you haven't done it yet, this is the time. What do you need to do? Tell me now. Okay, first it's like, and then if you haven't subscribed yet, we're going to, send out, I don't know, the SWAT team or something to get you to push that subscribe button. And then you want to hit the notify button because, Mr. Scott will be on with us later today. And then Jeff Lutz might be a little late tonight. So watch for the video coming out. The Good News Wednesday edition with Jeff will be maybe a little late, but it'll be there. I'm sure that there'll be good news to report by then. And then, of course, I'd love to have you joining Patreon. All right. So what do we know about the general economy? Well, here's kind of a bunch of stuff going on. One thing is that the stock market is rebounding again this morning. It's still got a long way to get back to where it was, and I don't think it will. And I think it'll go back down another leg. That's what I'm going to continue to say. Airbnb is down because of poor guidance. They did okay on their numbers, I guess, but their guidance was not good. They said they have fewer guests, and the guests are planning for shorter stays. This is a part of the economy this is what's been holding up the economy is transport, what do you call it? Leisure, travel, that kind of stuff is one of the sectors that has been doing well and holding up the economy from going a recession. Airbnb, not blissful about their chances going into the fall. It's not a disaster, just not that great. And that's the same thing with Disney. Disney beats this morning, and their streaming services and ESPN, et cetera, they were doing fine, but their U.S. parks are soft, and guidance was soft there as well. So I'm not trying to talk the economy into a recession. I'm only reporting what I'm seeing, which says to me that we cannot have higher GDP numbers in the third quarter than we had in the third quarter last year. Then Supermicro missed, and that was a big miss and a big shock, and that stock is down big time. And we also, that was it. I think Caterpillar, that was a good one. They beat and gave good guidance. So that's a little offset in terms of construction on major projects that may be going forward. Now, we know that there's been a lot of government activity in that area, and that might be where that's taking place. I didn't look at the details of that one. All right, we also have the VIX down a little bit more this morning. It was around 28 at the close yesterday. This morning it's down around 23, 22. So that is an improvement and suggests less fear this morning in the market. We don't have Iran attacking Israel yet, and we don't have any more activity taking place in that part of the world that would create more fear there. And also some of these numbers coming in again, some would cause fear and some would cause the opposite. So not a lot of activity yet today. And the only thing we get today is the consumer credit numbers. Those come in much later today. So Jeff and I will talk about that tonight. I'm expecting those numbers to be up. And I would expect, we've already seen that from some reporting yesterday that the credit card use was up, but these are I guess, the more official numbers that we'll see later today. All right, let's find out what the markets are doing at this exact moment. We will start with Tesla, which has been, again, playing around with, it's been slightly in the red all morning, even though the market is well up. So Tesla right now is down $1.39. No news that I know of. I've scoured the news. I didn't see anything. Yes, there was a big recall in China. It was a over-the-air update. There was, Elon Musk and his politics hurting sales in Germany by this drugstore company, which has 38 entire vehicles. I don't think that's why Tesla's down this morning. But anyway, it has been struggling to get into the green. It has tried a few times. Right now down $1.63. Dow Jones up 387, NASDAQ 268 positive, S&P up 73. The Magnificent Seven all up and nicely, except for NVIDIA, interestingly. NVIDIA is only up 70 cents and is headed down at this moment. Meta strongly up $9.81, but headed down at this moment. The markets in general, in fact, after going up strongly this morning, are tapering off quite distinctly at this moment. So that's kind of the trend. Let's look at the Cathie Woods. The Cathie Woods are also mostly up this morning and have topped off and are starting down. So I'm expecting volatility to continue. And yes, I do expect, I don't know if we'll wipe out 365 points on the Dow today, but it's entirely possible with those credit numbers. I think they're out at noon California time, 3 o'clock Eastern. All right, let's see. Let's look at the percentages. We've got the Dow is up 0.87, NASDAQ up 1.52, S&P up 1.29, and right now Tesla is down 0.99. Okay, the bonds are part of the shock this morning, and yet the bonds being up isn't impacting the stock market in a negative way. So, well, I don't know. So the bonds, the 10-year is up 4.3 basis points. And that the 2-year is up 3.1 basis point. And so that now gives us a difference of about 8 basis points between them now. Negative, still negative, but heading towards, even. But this continues to be befuddling. Why are interest rates up today? There was a big auction yesterday. I suppose there could be maybe that grabbed a bunch of bond money, causing interest rates to go up today. I'm not sure. Okay, but anyway, it is up 4.4 right now, 3.931. I would be shocked if it goes back over 4% again, but crazier things have happened. All right, let's find out about oil. Last time last time I looked, it was up, and it still is up. $1.15 for both. We have Texas Intermediate sitting at 74.36, which is still way beyond, it's already broken down its recent range, so creating a new range. Brent at 77.67. Natural gas, which was down earlier this morning, now back over $2 a share. $2 a thousand. Anyway, I forget what the measure is there. So up 3% this morning. Wonder why natural gas is jumping 3% this morning. That is unusual. Now the oil was, 1.5%, but natural gas up 3%. Wow. Okay, gold up $7.60 this morning, 2,439. But silver down 0.92%, copper down 1.63%, under $4 at this point. So there you go. There's something to watch. That's another one of those recession indicators. Okay, the dollar is up against the yen, 1.68, down against the euro, 0.08. And the Japanese yen on the carry trade, the Japanese central bank said, we're not going to continue to raise rates right now until things stabilize a bit. They are obviously taking recognition of this carry trade and not wanting to continue to roil international markets. They said, for now, the 0.25% interest rate hike that we did, that's going to be it for the moment. All right, the Bitcoin down another 541 this morning at 56,197. So way down at the bottom end of its range as well. And there you go. Those are the numbers for this morning. Going back to see trend, just give you the trends right now. So the trends continue down. Yeah, down. Dow, which was up over 400, now down. Now I'm sorry, was down over. The Dow, which was up over 400, is now up only 326. And Tesla, which was is now down $2.34. So yeah, now there's exceptions. Google is actually trending up right now. So, but mostly I'm seeing trend lines going down. This is not shocking to me. Again, I expect a lot of volatility. All right, that's all I got for you right now. Come back later. See Scott Walter. Yesterday, great video, of course, with Brian White. If you didn't see it, I'll put the card right here. And as always, phenomenal, actually exciting talking to you this morning.